So now we're looking at the software portion of my body graph. And as you can see, Angelina is lovely, lovely. Angelina is a 3-5 pure manifesting generator. So now if we take a look at this chart, this beautiful woman that she is, and imagine that she's a baby, imagine that she's just been born and her mother and father wrapped her in their arms and they're looking at this sweet child and they're, you know, wondering about the future and this poor little Angelina, not poor, but, you know, this darling little Angelina is being not bombarded, but really just absorbing in their frequency, what's going on with them, who they are, and feeling that love. Let's look at this undefined G center, one unconscious gate. This is a woman who's going to be looking for identity and direction, love in her life. This is the conditioning element in her particular reality. That's one of the biggest places that she can be conditioned. Another place, just like me, totally open ajna, not knowing how to conceptualize about things, but being open to all of the different ways we could conceptualize about things, right? And then the head center. So here in the head center, this is a big part of what she thinks that she's here to be attracted to or interested in, because it's unconscious that she's got the gates of doubt and confusion here as receptive elements, you know, conditioning receptors is the term. These are conditioning receptors. They're dormant potentials in her life. So she's going to be, you know, attracted to the other side or other ways that, let's say, a 6124 comes in and all of a sudden she's got these gates active, and that's part of what she's here to experience in this life, because obviously it's part of her incarnation cross. So we're looking at a woman who has also not just those open centers, but a split definition. What do we know about split definitions? They are attracted to people who will bring those two aspects together, usually, right? They're going to be wanting to make it work with somebody who bridges their split and brings the two aspects of them together. So what do you see in Angelina's chart? I'd like you to type it into the study group area, or you can do it here on the live video as well. But where are her activations that will bring her wholeness? Can you type those in for me? And I'm going to look at just her chart right here, and I see that here's the definition between the sacral and the ego and the solar plexus. So that means here, this area of definition is split off from her splenic to her root center. And Natalie, if you go into the link that's posted in this Facebook feed, there's a webinar link that I posted, and you can come into the chart that I'm looking at on my screen over here. Okay, so the splits, I'll just tell you for those of you who maybe aren't in the room yet. The split is she's got 57. Gate 57 would be one of the quickest ways that brings her together. Gate 27, another way. Gate 42, another way. Gate 52, yet another way. So those are the quickest ways that we can bring the two aspects of Angelina together. Now, if we were to take a look at the view of her, just her personality, what do you notice about Angelina's personality? She has no conscious access to one area of her definition, right? So maybe that genetic imperative is not as strong as bringing her together to feel that identity and direction and love, that feeling within, that feeling of having some kind of knowing of who she is in this life. And, you know, I'm just speculating because I haven't studied Angelina very deeply. I just know that I like her as a person. You know, I not commiserate, but have some kind of, there's something in me that really identifies with her in a way, and maybe it's the 3-5, but there's something there that I wish I could tell her what I know. And this is what I'm seeing in her chart, just being able to look at a person's chart and see where the dilemmas are. So that's what I'm trying to show you now. So we look at just her chart before we get into her parents and Brad. Okay, now I have her first husband here as well if we have time. So what we're looking at is the fact that she has no conscious access to what a bitch she can be. pardon the language, but if you look at the channel of judgment, a design of insatiability, she's got the 58th gate there, unconscious. Where is it coming from? It's her driving force to want to see the world around her and be able to improve upon it, perfect upon it, right? Because this is the gate of vitality. It's about having the pressure to correct your world in a collective sense, the world around you. Doesn't that kind of sound like her, as far as what you know of all of the things that she's done with her, exorbitant amounts of money that she's donated, and her time and energy, and all of the things that she's done for the world. So as a UN ambassador, I think it was. So anyway, looking at her chart, another thing that you notice is that that's a love gate. That's one of the ways that she is designed to love other people. It's one of the most misunderstood love gates. Hi, I have that. So if you've got a 58 and you're, a little bit criticized about being overly critical, well, remember, this is a projected element, projected channel. It's not meant to be just spewed out. It's designed to be pulled out of you, recognized and invited to help others to success, not you. It's not about perfecting the other for you. Ultimately, it's about perfecting the other for them, and that's how you express your love. But if you're not, delving into personal development or human design in particular, you won't know that. So what is another element of what's going on in Angelina's chart as far as love is concerned? How do I find love? Who gives me love in this lifetime, right? Who turns me on in a way that makes me feel love? Well, we know from the presentation that I did last week about electromagnetics that electromagnetics can give us that feeling of love. Do you see in Angelina's chart somewhere where there is a love gate that's just hanging out there waiting to be turned on? Tell me what gate that is. And I'm going to go over to the webinar and just make sure you guys can see. Okay, you can see. And if you're don't know, that's okay. I'm asking you the question to get you to think, and that's what these study groups are about. So which love gate? Let's see. She doesn't have any of the love gates in the G center. She doesn't have the love gate in the ego, the solar plexus. That leaves the root we'd already talked about. There's a love gate there, and the splenic center. Always turned on is her 28 unconscious. And when somebody comes in with that 38 gate of the fighter and hooks in, boy, is there going to be a love that's worth fighting for, a love that it's possibly a struggle, right? But the struggle can be rewarding, can be empowering, because this is individual circuitry. It's designed to be a little bit unique, different, freaky. And yeah, in the responses, I would like them to type it into the webinar software, Darshana. And the link is there in the feed there on this video. So that's where I would like you to type in if you know it. So your one of the ways that Angelina is designed to experience love is to be turned on by this 28 gate, which is, having a purpose with your love, having a love that makes you sad. Hi, I got that. There's something we're struggling for, we're fighting for, and it's this love that gives you a sense of meaning and purpose in life. Where is that coming from? You're honest. It's unusual in the way it expresses. It's something she has no conscious access to, right? No continual conscious access at all. This is like a tunnel in her awareness. It's underneath the surface. Her body will light up when somebody comes into her field in a particular way that turns her on in this way, and she might be attracted to them, because electromagnetics mean attractiveness sometimes. There's this love or hate, depending on what the line values are, depending on the overall connectivity in the chart. So what I'm going to do is, I just showed you a couple of the ways that Angelina is designed to take in the other, right? The open centers here, the undefined centers, the love gates. We have all of the love gates she doesn't have, which I mentioned, and I'm pointing at with my my mouse in the webinar room. Or she has the places where there is a love gate and there's an activation on the other side from the other, and that's how she takes in and is receptive to that other, and it turns her on and makes her feel love. So let's take a look at, we've looked at just the basics of Angelina. What happens, one more thing I wanted to mention that I was looking at her chart and going, we got to mention this. her solar plexus. I'm going to show you her, I showed you her personality. Now I'm going to show you her unconscious design. What do you notice about her areas of definition now from what you knew before? What do you notice about her authority? What is her authority? Her authority was emotional. Where is that center? How is that center being aligned to definition? One gate, right here, crisis, unconscious. That's the only way that this woman can access her personal authority, meaning it's a body sensation. It's not anything that she can consciously identify with in her mind as far as why she makes decisions in a healthy way. When it's correct for her to make a decision in alignment with her design, it's about being patient. It's about knowing when to, have that response of hers that's continually responding, because we take a look at her complete design and she's got it conscious and unconscious, her defined 34 to the throat, the 20, this is a channel of charisma, a design of being busy. Now, I've seen people write about, and oh, she's designed to be very, very busy. That could be. But in actuality, if we take a look at the deeper nuances of her chart, it is her nodal environment. So this is the path that she's on. The road that she's traveling is designed to be busy. Now, if you take a look at the rest of her, let's look at her variables, for example. Her brain, her body is receptive, passive, observant, not necessarily designed to be busy. What's busy? Her mind. Right here, I'm circling this variable right here. So just to show you that there's so much to look at with this chart, is you could dive into it for days and find deeper and deeper nuances. But those were the things I really wanted to point out to you. One more thing, this right here, this 21, conscious and unconscious. So her conscious driving force is to have this biting through gate. The 21 is the gate of control, right? So watch what happens when we start to take a look at other people and maybe why there were power struggles, or why she was having challenges, or why they're no longer together, i.e. Brad Pitt, because that's one we're going to look at. The only one I could find that had a definite birth time. I pulled up, what's his name? Billy Bob Thornton, and we don't have a birth time on him, so I just have his chart to look at as a curiosity after we look at the other chart. So now let's look at, I'm going to go to my library, and I am going to pull up in another window. Oh, it's not going to let me do that. Okay. Oh, shoot. I should have opened these all up for you, because sometimes these take a long time. I guess I'm going here first. So look at Brad Pitt now. We're looking at Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie together. So of the places where she's designed to be open to experiencing love, what is she amplifying in the other, and what love gates are being turned on by him? Can you tell me which love gates he has some kind of connection to in her chart? There are 2 of them that she's connected to, and there's 1 that she's amplifying of his 2 that he's amplifying. So if you want to, go ahead, quizzing yourself, go ahead and type that into the Webinar Ninja, and good job. Yeah, hi Darshana, 38, yes. So looking here, 38 is one of the places I was talking about just recently where he is connected into her. But now notice how the 38, actually his 38 connects up with a 20-way. Ah, here we have his only channel. So what happens with compromise is that they behave like an electromagnetic initially. They behave like this juicy, there's something there, there's something attractive. But what can happen as well is that in Angelina's case, we're going to focus mostly on Angelina now, not Brad's dilemma, but for Angelina, she is being compromised by Brad because he has the entire channel and she only has one side of the channel, the 28. Okay, now it's not as much of a discomfort to Angelina. Well, what I've noticed is that and what I've heard is that projectors tend to feel the compromise more than the generators. Generators tend to be able to live with it. Now with the 28 here, this love of purpose, it's unconscious for her, and it's down in her Uranus. It's not big deal. It's not the nuances and subtleties. It's not the sun or the earth. You know, it's not her moon. It's not her nodal environment. He's compromising her 28 unconscious. So not as big of a deal, but here's a way that they're connected. Here's a way that she gets to experience love. Here's a way that they have this romance together, because all individual circuitry has a sense of romance about it. So now when we're taking a look at other love gates, remember how I was talking about the 58? 58 being about that vital joy, love of perfecting, pressure to improve, to be corrected, and to correct itself, to correct others, right? This is about sharing the correction possibilities that you see, the logical patterns you see can be improved in order to improve everybody's experience. Here's the 18. The 18 in Brad Pitt is hooking into Angelina's 58. So he's being compromised on this respect. Where's his 18 at? There. It's his Venus, and it's unconscious. All right, so we're taking a look at that as well, where maybe, you know, I don't know how he experiences this personally, but he might kind of chafe at the way Angelina has to have, you know, things maybe go her way as far as improving what the world they live in is like. The pressure for her to maybe bitch and complain about the world, the two of them complaining about the world together, how it could be improved. One moment. Oops. And we dropped the live stream. Forgot I was connected. All right. So there. And that is just to make sure that I have a backup recording of the audio. So there are those two ways, those two love gates, some of the most difficult love gates you can have in your body graph. And one of them, there's a compromise on Brad. One of them, there's a compromise on Angelina's actual love gate, the 28. So what does this mean, practically speaking? It means that there's a thorn in one of their sides, depending on which one we're talking about. There's a thorn in their side that is irritating, where they feel like they can't really express themselves completely sometimes, where they feel like, you know, the other person doesn't value them, doesn't appreciate them, doesn't love them, doesn't see them for who they are. They can't. So it's not about placing blame or shame or fault or guilt or thinking that there's something wrong with you, that you aren't loved, you know, either of them, that I'm not good enough or I'm not loved. Now, Brad might get that experience of I'm not good enough because he's got an undefined ego center, whereas Angelina is very much defined. But the looking at the compromise areas is where you want to take a look at in a composite chart, just to see where the pain is, okay? Where is the pain in your relationship with the other? This is where we're looking at. These are potentially pain points for them that led to their demise. Now, one other thing, before I talk about the other love gate, the split definition, this is something that personally I know I need, maybe some people don't, but I wanted to have some time to look at the transits when these two got together. But remember when Angelina's graph, and I'm going to try and open another area of her graph so we can just look at her graph again. But Angelina has a split definition. You remember her split? It was sacral to throat to ego to solar plexus, and it was root to splenic center. 2 areas of definition. Question, does Brad bridge her split? Can you show me where Brad bridges her split? And I'll give you a moment while I pull up Angelina's chart on the other screen. And now I look and see it does not bridge. Exactly right, Cheryl. So Angelina is not getting what she needs out of this relationship as far as bringing the 2 aspects of her together. However, it may not be as big of a deal to her because she has this unconscious, right? This area over here, if we just look at her design, this is unconscious, right? And when we add in her we just look at her personality, it's totally not something that her mind thinks is important necessarily. So there's not maybe as much of a genetic imperative to bridge that split, but how does she feel loved with him? She feels loved through these particular areas, these areas here. And love, hate, electromagnetic. Where's the one more electromagnetic that you see Brad and Angelina have? It only takes one electromagnetic to make a couple feel that spark of energy. We have two compromise channels, which created that spark, an illusion of the spark, you know, that dynamic between two people. But down the road, about 6 months down the road of living together, working together, having a lot of time together, they start to get this uncomfortable irritation and whatnot. So where is it? Shall we see? 1156, exactly. So the 1156, channel of curiosity, a design of a seeker, a searcher, looking out at the ideas in the world, conceptualizing. He brings that in to condition Angelina in a way that's very abstract, right? Abstract circuitry, where it's about sharing the ability for your mind to conceptualize change from images in the mind, because this is how the mind thinks. It thinks in images, not words. Change and mutate, transmute those images into language. Here, the storyteller. Where's her 56 coming from? Venus. Okay, Venus is getting turned on by Brad's 11 in his sun. So there's their spark together, where all of a sudden Angelina has this way to bring the energy from her, you know, concepts, the things that are in her head, out into the world of language and sharing it through her beliefs. She's designed to have very, very particular beliefs, consistently defined beliefs that have to do here with her values. And so together they create this channel, this electromagnetic, this attractiveness between the two, where she loves him for his ideas that he's externalizing to his network, and he loves her for for helping him to get those ideas shared into the world and being able to articulate. He's amplifying her belief gate, right? Remember, when we're together with the other, we get to take on what's in them, and we get to see that sometimes play out in our lives. So he gets to speak with this voice of, I believe. We're sharing stories. And so that's another way where he, you know, sometimes people bring out the best in each other. So maybe he might feel that is something that was really enticing and interesting in the beginning of their relationship. Now, if we take a look at the fact that these two gates, I'm going to go a little deeper into this, the gate 11 and the gate 56, what do you notice about the line values? The line values between 56 and 4. Are they resonant? Are they harmonic? So if they're not resonant, because they're not the same line, and they're not harmonic, because it's not a 1 with a 4, a 2 with a 5, or a 3 with a 6, what does this mean? What can it show up like to someone? If they're having these two electromagnetics together and there's this push and pull, this dynamic tension that happens, it could be that if they're together too often, that they could have this hate develop much more quickly than if it was a harmony or a resonance. It's possible, okay? So that's the thing that you want to take a look at in diving into somebody's relationship. Sorry, now I'm getting hot. Lots of lights. And I'm going to take this off. So any questions about what's going on there so far? There's a few more things I want to cover with Brad, particularly his love gates that Angelina is amplifying, and talk about what I suspect is the way that she's bridging her split. Dissonance, yeah, that's right. Darshana got it, is dissonance. We see dissonance, and dissonance can be very just challenging sometimes. There's this, Ra describes it as two people singing, right? We have harmony, we have resonance, we have dissonance. And so if there's two people singing and they're not in harmony and they're not in resonance, there's like one person standing on the other person's foot and it's kind of off. The sound is kind of off. So it doesn't maybe work as well. The energy doesn't flow through the channel as well because there's always this mismatch of meeting of the energies. So that's one of the ways that you can kind of help people understand, well, you know, let's say, for example, if we're talking to Brad Brad, your ideas, your ideas are designed to be shared. They're designed to be shared with your network. You're designed to externalize them. You have the ability in this lifetime to be a teacher, where you have this ability to express the essential nature of peace. What happens with you is that your ideas can only be grasped by a few people. That's just the way that you are in your design. Only a few people can understand and your brilliance when it comes to your ideas. Now, when we take a look at Angelina, the way that she's designed to be receptive to those ideas, her beliefs, it's called linkage. The second line. So she has a genius for stimulating expression that will take time to mature and will need others to recognize it. So she needs you to be able to recognize her genius for expression that may not be in harmony with those ideas that you have. And she has a gift for communicating, but there's not enough depth sometimes. So just understand that just because she doesn't get your ideas and maybe isn't in alignment with them, doesn't mean she doesn't love you. Doesn't mean she doesn't appreciate and value you. She has her own beliefs. She has her own way of expressing the stimulating world of language in the form of storytelling and beliefs. So that would be one of the places that I would go to as if they are asking, what's going on with our relationship and why are we the way that we are? Well, that thing where he does this and you kind of don't understand it, and then maybe you butt heads a little bit because you have your beliefs that you want to share, but you can't share it in depth. And he's got his ideas, which you can't really grasp, and you're feeling dumb. He's not trying to make you feel dumb. And that's the biggest fear of an undefined ajna. Hello. I'm an undefined ajna, and us being found out that we're not consistent in thought is horrifying. It's a big source of anxiety in her life. Okay, so what I would advise Brad to do now is if they're in conversation, they're talking with other people, and Angelina is feeling like she's a little uncomfortable, and Brad's sensitive to that. He may notice that he has part of the channel of sensitivity that gets activated when she's around him, when he's around her. He could maybe take her aside instead of pointing it out to everybody. You don't understand me. No, you didn't get what I was saying. That's not my idea. Say it this way. Do you see what I'm saying? So this is a way that we can get into the nuances of how a couple relates to each other and help give them a way of not having these horrible misunderstandings and taking it personally. None of this is personal. It's all simply mechanics. And the better that you can get at looking at your personal chart, I'm talking about for you personally, looking at your chart and what's going on with your and the other's chart, you're going to get a sense for the no choice, the ability to accept what is going to be much more enhanced if you understand that other people are not doing this on purpose to you. Make sense? So more that I wanted to point out, we talked about the compromise. I didn't get into it deeply like I did with the electromagnetic, although I would with this couple if they came to me for counseling or a human design chart reading. And then one of the things here is that just to look at the other love gates that are active in this couple, we have Brad's 44, who is always on. It's his unconscious driving force. This is the love of success. So, wow, power couple. I don't know how I think Angelina was way more famous than Jennifer Aniston, don't you? As far as like people fascinated about who she is and her making more money, maybe. Not that I'm saying that Brad is only materialistic, I'm not. But look at the 44 unconscious. His driving force is to have a love of success with others, is to overcome the fear of the past. This is what the 44 does. Overcome that fear of the past by aligning with a tribal member, somebody who will help you have success together. That's what that love gate is. It's about, going beyond just yours and mine and having the magic of ours be something that is expressed. So Angelina is definitely a powerhouse when it comes to that industry. She's somebody who has the channel of materialism, has the ability to make money. If you look at her 21s on the deeper level and read the keynotes there. So just as an example, even though it's not connected to an electromagnetic, and it's always on for Brad, this love gate, if he were to meet up with someone else who has the 26 as an example and hooks into that, it's going to be attractive to him, but not as much as if he had the splenic center undefined. Then it would be really attractive. Anywhere you see a love gate that's undefined, hello, next gate we look to, gate 40 is not a defined gate in Brad's design. It's a dormant potential because he has an undefined ego. This means though he has it twice in Uranus, there's an unusual way that he experiences his expression of providing for the family and of love, you know, that bargain of the tribal community. So both of them are here to be wise about the 37 on the other side, family, friendship, you know, being able to give the other person affection for being a provider. But what Angelina's doing when they're hooked up is, oh, all of a sudden her ego has this additional thing that she's amplifying, which is about providing for the other, you know, having this bargain of doing, you know, one person brings home the bacon, the other person cooks it. Obviously, with both of them, they bring in lots of money together. So they need to learn to give each other the affection for whatever resources they both bring to the table. But for Brad, this is a way that he gets pulled off track for his authentic way of experiencing love. What is his authentic way of experiencing love? Where are his love gates that are constantly defined? Remember, if you know Brad's chart, all he has is the splenic center and the root. So what love gates are his that are always going to be consistent throughout his entire life and can be something that he trusts, or maybe a reason why, because it's attached to his splenic center. His authority is the instinctive, intuitive knowing. It is the 44. That's it, right? We have the 44 as his two. He has a 28. So the 2 gates right there. Those are his 2 love gates. So what pulls him off track? The 40 as a possibility, getting turned on, thinking that he needs to provide for the other, thinking that this is the way that you show love, you provide for them. Yes, it's one of the ways. It's one of the ways he's here to learn to be wise about in this lifetime, but not to do it to prove anything, right? So if he's trying in his mind to prove anything about being a provider, it's going to pull him off track from being that intuitive projector that's here to be existential, only in the now, and have his spleen make his decisions for him when he's recognized and invited by the other to make decisions about his life, big decisions about his life, right? Little things not as big of a deal. But that's one of his learning programs. How do I experience love in my life? It's being a provider. It's getting affection in return for it. So that's one of the things that we take a look at in a companionship chart as far as helping people understand their psychology. Now, there was another place I wanted to go. We knew that we can't cover the split with Brad, but he brings in this energy for this right here, the channel of curiosity. He brings in these different compromise channels. He brings in that energy for, you know, this is somebody I can be successful with, and Angelina would be amplifying that. This is somebody I can be successful with, right? But she's making decisions based on that, based on spontaneity, which a lot of times an emotional being who is unconscious in their emotional definition will be spontaneous and will not have that patience to wait and go through their emotional wave, which hers is that wonderful roller coaster of a tsunami that builds and builds and builds with expectations, and they get what they want, or they don't get what they want. There's this crash because it's never exactly the way that you think it should be. The abstract being wants something particular out of each experience, thinks that it could be logical, and if I do X, Y, and Z, I'm going to get that. They don't get what they think they want, and boom, there's this crash that is tied to their feelings inside of their body. That is a genetic component. It's chemistry within. So there's nothing you can control about this. So the other thing I wanted to mention that I thought was really interesting is they both have the 21 pretty strongly for her. You can see where her 21 is coming from. Like I mentioned, the moon, conscious driving force for her. She also has it in Mars. So there's this immature energy about her 21. And what is happening here between her and Brad is that there's a power struggle, because anytime you have, this is one of the most difficult channels to have definition within, either as an electromagnetic or a compromise. So one person is thinking that they need to be in control and maybe not recognizing the other person's right to be in control in certain circumstances. So what are we talking about here? Angelina has the whole channel. She has the design of a materialist, right? Somebody who is here to have Gate 45 says, I have resources and control how those resources get distributed, right? So if we look at where Brad's 21 is, oh, he's got this illusion of electromagnetic, this compromise to the 45, thinking, yes, this is attractive, right? This is interesting to me. But down the road, as their relationship goes on, and there's the day in, day out, what happens is that Angelina literally cannot see or experience or feel Brad's need for his control or his life and his, dynamics. And what we see with the compromise here, if you take a look at these channels, Angelina is compromising him 3 times. So not only does he have that 21, we have the 36 as well. And the 36, this channel or this gate of crisis. Let's share crisis together, these two say to each other. Let's share this experience, this new experience, have a new experience together, And what's happening is that Angelina is not able to see in those 3 places. So channel of judgment, the 18, Brad's need for being able to challenge authority. She's not able to see Brad's need for being in control. She's not able to see Brad's need for having this crisis energy. Where is his 36 coming from? Oh, yeah, this was the big one. So look at where his 36 is coming from. Why would this be a problem in someone's relationship? A potential problem. It's not to say that it was completely not self and wrong. We're just saying that there's a challenge here. Every relationship that you're looking at has a challenge. So I'm just going to peek over into the room. Nobody answered yet. So just to let you know, when we're looking at this chart, the problem is that 36 is Brad's unconscious earth. His unconscious earth is being compromised. 70% of the energy that comes in to imprint your entire body graph chart comes through the sun when you're 88 degrees of the sun's movement before your birth or at your birth, right? So if there's 70% in this sun energy and it is grounded in the earth, right, by that 36, he is having a significant portion of who he is being almost ignored by Angelina, in the fact that she cannot see, she has her own experience of crisis, her own experience of transitoriness, that feelings are definitely very transitory. Every emotional being knows this very deeply because we experience it many times in this particular channel a lot. So this is one of the reasons why I feel the two of them are falling apart, is that there's a lot of compromise in this companionship chart. There's some dissonances happening where we have electromagnetics. There's Angelina's not getting the bridge, the 2 aspects of her being pulled together, that feeling, that sensation of wholeness by Brad. So she has to get it from the children, or maybe, this is my thought, is looking at her design, and I haven't looked into her solar transits or her cycle transits or her dream wave or anything, but it just picked at me because I have the 27 personally in an undefined sacral. That 27 is about nurturing. It's called corners of the mouth in the Ray V Ching. So this is a woman who thinks that she needs to end things. She needs to be very intuitive. She needs to nurture and take care of everybody. And maybe she needs to, she can't focus because she needs to sit still, right? Those are the keynotes of her split between the 2 areas of definition. So what does she do? she goes out and she adopts a whole passel of kids and has a couple of her own with this lovely man named Brad Pitt to possibly bring the two aspects of her together. And if we were to take a look at all her children, which I didn't even bother because there's so many and I didn't have the time, but if we could, we would see that one of those children brings Angelina together in a way that she might be more experiential towards, or not experiential, but more affectionate, or, you know, lean more towards being around this child to bridge her split together, to make her feel whole, which all split definitions I want to feel that sensation of wholeness, that illusion of you complete me. And so that is possibly one of the reasons why she was attracted to any of her children, adopting them. You know, this is somebody I can nurture. This is somebody I can take care of. The openness in her design. And if she made the decision spontaneously and not feeling it out, she might have picked up a child that was very, very uncomfortable for her, depending on what's going on the rest of the chart, right? So there's this whole dynamic of we could explore for days and days, but I want to move up now to the parents, because I think that's really important for you to see where and why there's this attractiveness sometimes that we have to the other. It depends on what's going on inside of, you know, our conditioning. What makes us feel like home? What makes us feel loved? What makes us feel special? What makes us feel, where are we attracted to? It tends to be, there's this conditioning that happens. And if we keep playing out the lessons, for example, in Angelina's chart, you can see here, she has the energy to start new things, not necessarily the energy to complete it. So what could happen is that she has had lots of relationships over her life. Anybody her age would, mostly, but especially a split definition in Hollywood. But anyway, if she tries to end that relationship before completing a cycle of experience as an abstract being should, and that's her authority, right? This channel right here is about the abstract experiential process. It's the strength of the experiencer, if we're talking BG5 language. If she keeps ending the relation, thinking that it's important to end this relationship, I need to end this relationship, I need to end this, before she's finished that cycle of experience, she's going to repeat the same patterns over and over and over again. Have you ever noticed that in your life, where you have this experience and there's something that you just keep coming up with in the same relationship over and over and over again? If you don't stick out that relationship, if it's not, you know, if it's right for you according to your strategy and authority, you know, leave the relationship if it's abuse or anything like that, of course. But if you don't face your problems, your challenges, if you don't confront the fears, the issues, the conditioning within you and overcome it through awareness, through progression, personal development, you know, just being able to accept and allow and love yourself, and you keep banging into the same person, just in a different body, you know, the same kind of design in a different body, you're going to keep getting the same thing, the same experiences of life that are causing you pain. What's causing this woman pain in her life? I don't know who I am. I don't know what real love feels like. I don't have true love in my life. I'm constantly looking for it. She and Brad, let's say if Brad was completing her split, what can happen in a deeply conditioned, not self, quote unquote, not self being shadow state is, even if the two of them are standing next to each other, they have a beautiful relationship and everything's groovy, that undefined G center will still go, where's my love? Where is it, love? Where's that true love? And the true love that we want to experience in this life is actually what Ra calls death, where your ajna crystal, the design crystal, and the magnetic monopole actually have a space, a slot. The design crystal fits perfectly into that magnetic monopole, and you have this perfect love, and they exit the body and you die, according to rave cosmology. So that's what we're all looking for, and you're not going to get it in this lifetime. You're going to get human love. Human love is messy. Human love can be really challenging, but you can get through it with awareness. So that's what I'm hoping to help you guys with these study groups. And the free webinar we did last week, I'll do another one next week, I think, if there's interest. So taking a look at, we took a look at Angelina. Let's get into her, Jon Voight, her dad. I want you to notice, oops, let me show all of it complete. I want you to notice what Jon, her dad, does for her. He bridges her split. He brings a unique expression of direction and love in her life. So here's a woman who has this energy with her dad that is, there's love there. There's definitely love there, because if there's hate, it's usually very, very close. Like there are two sides of the same coin, love and hate. And look at all these electromagnetics. We have two. We have some dominance channels where one has one and one has the other. We have a compromise channel. Now, one thing that's happening here is that the split is not being bridged as well. So when this comes up in together, they might have some arguments. When somebody comes in with either an 11, the 23, the 62, there's an argument there. But what I wanted you to take a look at as far as the similarities between Brad and Jon Voight, if I were to go and do their chart together, which I did, I believe it was a 6 and 3, better to be free, which is also, I don't know why that's saying that here, but take a look at the 4-6 and take a look at Brad Pitt. Ooh, we have the same profile, 4-6. Now, that's one thing I didn't cover on this chart. Brad and Angelina, do they have a harmonic, a resonant, or a dissonant profile connection to each other? Do you see that? We have 4. Is it harmonic or resonant here? No. We have 6. Is it harmonic or resonant here? Yes. So we have a harmony between the way that Brad unconsciously experiences life and the way that Angelina personally, consciously experiences life. So there's a connection there. There's a bridge between the profiles that allows them to kind of get each other. It's attractive because it's different. The other thing we can take a look at, if you didn't find connections between the profiles, is you could take a look at their nodal environment. Are they on a similar kind of path? You know, are their nodes the same? Are the lines the same? Are they different? So those are deeper aspects we can go to in the design. But I popped back to this chart to show you that the 4-6. Hi, Daddy. Here's somebody who's kind of like my dad. He's a 4-6 too. And you know what else is going on here? Here's somebody with Brad Pitt. If I get her, where's her mom? Oh, I didn't do a chart with her mom yet. Let me do that real quick. So I'm going to go to New Connection Chart, Angelina and Marcheline something or other, right? Bertrand, Marcheline Bertrand. So here's the connection between, now we don't have the exact time for this person, but Marcheline is a projector. Guess what? If we did the noon time for Billy Bob Thornton, Billy Bob was a projector. Look at this. Love is my identity center being conditioned. Angelina feels that this attractiveness is something that, you know, maybe is important to her in life. And if we were to take a look at, don't have the time right now, probably not the energy for you guys, I don't know, I'm enjoying this very much, but you could take a look at running just Marcheline and the dad together and see, oh, in fact, let's just take a look at it. It's really cool. I'm going to create a new, I thought I created a chart. Oh, here. There's so many different places you can go with this. There we go. There's her parents, if we have the time approximately right on Marcheline's end. So look at the interesting dynamics between what's going on with Marcheline and Jon Voight. We have somebody whose Sun Earth 2 and 1 is here in the nodal environment. So Jon is designed to have this type of person in his environment, right? And we have a triple split. We have disconnect between the way that they're designed to communicate with each other. There's a gap between their experiences of each other. We have an undefined ego. 8 and 1, have some fun together. But you know what? There's so much here I could go into. I'm getting a little like, phew, I don't have enough time to get into all of it before my next meeting. So I just want to stop there and see if we have any questions or any concerns about what you were experiencing in this really quick blast through Angelina's chart in relationship to the other. And while you're formulating, writing your questions down, either here in the live stream or in the group here, I'm going to just show you what it looks like on Angelina's other relationships besides Brad Pitt. So we have Angelina and Billy Bob Thornton. Here we have Billy Bob. Oh gosh, look at that. Mama and Daddy defined the G center for me. Here we have a G center defined for Angelina together with Billy Bob. He's got a couple of channels there actually. We have a 5-1 compared to a 3-5. We have another projector, and they're really locked in together because they're a 9-0. What do you remember about Angelina and Billy Bob having their relation? They were like glue, right? They wrote each other's names. They shared vials of blood. They were really, really tight, right? And look, it's a single definition. Single definition. 9-0, nowhere to go. Really locked in together. Lots of dominance, tons of electromagnetics, a few compromise. So now let's go over to where is this other guy? Jonny Lee Miller. So this was, I didn't know about this, but this was her first marriage apparently. And we don't have the exact time for him either, I don't believe. And he's a 5-1 as well, just like Billy Bob. And they are a single definition, 8 and 1, have some fun. Look at all of these electromagnetics and compromises. No wonder it was a short, fast, hot burning relationship that didn't last very long. And again, we can see a different way that Angelina was learning about love in her lifetime. Her split was bridged. So she was getting what she needed out of the relationship at that time. I hope you guys enjoyed that. For those of you who don't know about the class, it is how you are designed to love. You're welcome, Natalie. A personal journey through your personal experiences in your life of your relationships. So what I want to do is take us through all of the ways we're designed to connect with the other, as if I was giving you a reading with your other, but we're going to do it very slowly, piece by piece, over 8 weeks. And we're going to look at all of these different ways we're designed to love. So as an example, we're looking at the types. How do the two types interact with each other in your personal body graph? How are your profiles connected to each other? How is there similarity, dissonance, harmony, and resonance? How are your centers aligning with each other? What are you amplifying from the other? And also circuitry, similarity or not similarity. There's a need for similar circuitry to get kind of get each other in a relationship. There's the different ways that we have connectivity, the different friendship, which is companionship. There's channels of compromise. I was just going to say channels of dilemma, compromise. There is also going to be a discussion on dominance, and there's going to be a discussion on the electromagnetics, and of course, like I said, companionship. Then we're going to be talking about the connection themes. What does it mean to have a 9 and nowhere to go? What does it mean to have a 7 and 2 work to do? I didn't even mention that with the Brad and Angelina. It means that to see in this relationship, it's going to be work. It's going to be rewarding work if it's right for you. But there is work in a 7 and 2. And we're going to be taking a look at the love gates as well as the challenging electromagnetics, which I have a lot of experience with. And it is, if you want to sign up for it, I'll post a link here. But the course is 8 live weekly sessions, personal guidance through the mechanics of your relationship. So like a reading, but long, experiential, kind of like how LYD is for your chart. Looking at your love gates, particularly having the time to share an experience with others so that you're learning about other people's charts too. Great for projectors. And we're going to look at the analysis of the partnership charts as we learn. So your course materials are the love book or the audios and ebook you can get on Jovian Archive. Suggested that you have at least taken Living Your Design or had a lot of personal study. Optional having Rave ABCs, and I'm giving you a lot of bonuses for this because I want this to happen. I want to experience this with you guys. So I've got 2 people signed up. It's definitely happening. The sale price is only $4.99 on sale this February. So to the end of the month, you emotional people have time to sleep on it. Never going to pressure you at all to do this. And if this works out great, we can do it again later on. So don't feel pressured. But this time I want to give you 3 connection charts. I want to have a 60-minute Q&A with you after the sessions are done, so that we have all of your, if you have any personal stuff you didn't feel comfortable sharing in a group format, that's when we get to share together. And then I'm going to write a custom written report on your personal love gate. So, and what I'll do is I'll take that information and look at your chart and customize it for you. So it's like a partially customized written report on how you're designed to love. So is this love designed to pull you off track? Is it authentic to you? What's consistent? What's undefined? And how does that show up? How can it show up possibly? To give you a little bit of a roadmap. Now remember, you don't want to make decisions based on these love gates. You never want to make decision based on somebody else's design with yours and go, that's not correct. Everything could work and could be correct as long as you're following your strategy and authority. Now, if you're not in a relationship right now and you're just wanting to maybe study the relationships of you with your past husbands or major significant others, we can do that. And I want to give you a relationship reading at a discount in the future, anytime. Okay, so there's the bonus. The bonus is worth more than the class, because I want to invite you guys to do this with me. I think it would be really fun, and I hope that you can join me. If not, maybe another time down the road. But thank you again for being here, for experiencing this, going through these charts with me. It's a lot of fun, and I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Any questions, let me know. Take care.